Alright, so for this tutorial, I'm going to make my creature, which is going to be the enemy. I'm just going to show you basically how I would do it. So obviously, I'm not going to start with a humanoid biped. Instead, I'm going to start with just a sphere. The thing I want to make is this. So you can make a creature or whatever. This is called a Rhea. So my uncle had one, and they're like 5.5 feet tall, and they're super scary when you're like 5 years old. So I remember seeing this thing and being super frightened of it. So I'm going to make basically this inside of Sculptress. So that's basically the idea. So I'm going to have that there. First thing you want to do is basically develop the overall shape. So if when I rotate, I hold shift, you can see down here, it'll say it'll snap to different angles. So right now I'm in the right view here. So I'm just going to hold Alt and click and drag, and Alt, drag, and back up. Use my grab tool, and I'm going to make the general shape here. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and use my one program called Ghost It. I'm going to open up that. I don't know if you guys remember this from before, but I'm going to double click on that. It ends up down here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and ghost this. So, okay, wait, that didn't work. Let's try again. Double click on it. Good, gives me the little ghost icon, and I'm gonna click on this, and now this is ghosted. So now I can see through my image, the thing, and see it behind it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and bring this back up, and I'm gonna take this and click on just that, and we will minimize this and put this kind of in the corner, like that. Okay, then I'll go back to this. There, wait, now I can see on the side there while I'm working. Okay, so usually I go the other direction, but we'll just make the head into the right side here. So I got my grab tool, and I hold the space bar and make it bigger. And I am roughly going to try and make the shape of this. Alright, so something like this. Alright, there we go. And let's look this way. And that's probably about right. And we'll just go in a little bit there. Alright. Good. Now what I'm going to do is draw my little nublet here for the neck to come off of, which would be right at the base. So I'm going to go with my draw tool and hold space bar, make it a little bit bigger. And I want it on clay right now. I'm going to turn that off. I'm just going to click to draw a little nublet here so I have something to grab off for the neck, and then I have the legs here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw where the legs are going to come out. I'm going to put them roughly right around here-ish. Good. And we're going to call that good. Alright, so that's enough to pull. So I'm going to go back to my grab tool. I'm going to make this the same size as the nuck here. So that way I can take it and pull it out. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Good. And I'm going to take that and keep pulling like so. I'm going to hold shift here just to smooth it out, so it doesn't get too stretched out, and give this a little bit of thickness here. Alright, a little bit like that, and maybe this way as well. Pull it out a little this way. Alright, and pull it out a little this way, and back. Just trying to give it some thickness here. Okay. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and use the draw tool right here just to build up some mass for the head. Okay, it looks adequate, and we'll put more right in the front here to make the beak. I'm just going to hold shift and smooth this out a touch, grab my grab tool, make this a bit smaller, and pull this out to make the beak. Okay, so not perfect, but it's a start. We'll work on it. Maybe let's do this actually, make this much bigger. It's going to kind of pull this up this way a little bit. Looks a little bit better. Take this down a little. Okay. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is, we are going to go down here, and I'm just going to grab the leg nugget here. And I'm not going to do the same pose. I'm just going to do kind of a generic pose here. So I'm going to pull this forward like that, and then we're going to take it, and then I'm going to pull it this way, like so. I'm going to make sure that this is sort of straightish though. I'm going to pull that inwards. Alright. Okay, so that looks okay. it's kind of come down at an angle here that I don't really want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold control and mask this area. So I'm going to go to the mask here. Make sure the strength's all the way up. And hold control. And let me see. What's the size? And oops, control. And I'm just going to make sure I mask the leg out here. Like so. As well as the inside. Alright, make sure I go all the way around so there's nothing weird. Alright, now I'm going to do is I'm going to hold control and tap, and it's going to invert my selection. I'm going to then go to rotate, and I'm going to make it to global, and I'm going to click, and I am going to rotate inwards. Good. And then I'm going to use my move, make sure that's also global, and I'm just going to pull it in slightly. Good, so that way it's a little bit better. And I'm also going to go ahead and go underneath here. I'm going to hold shift so that it snaps. And I'm going to go back to the rotate here. Put this more in the middle. I'm going to click. And I'm going to go ahead and point it outwards slightly, like that. That looks a little more natural. Now I'm going to hold control, click, and drag. That'll clear out my selection. Alright, so I'm just trying to get the pieces as good as I can. And now I'm going to make the feet, which will be kind of the hardest thing, really. So I'm going to go to my draw tool. And I'm just going to kind of try and add some mass in here. Alright. In general. So that I can build off some toes from this. Alright. And I'm just going to basically draw 3 nublets. They have 3 toes. 3. Okay. Like so. And maybe a little bit more on that one. Let's see. Alright, something like that, we'll say. I'm going to use my grab tool, turn it back off of global, and I'm going to make this smaller, just the size of the knucks here. And let's make it a little bigger, and I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to take this one and pull this one out. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to pull this one out. So it should end up with basically 3 toes. Okay, so good. And now I just need to I'm just trying to get the base body things done. So I'm taking my draw tool here, and it has these wings, and you can't really see them. I think what I'm going to do is not actually make the wings. I'm just going to insinuate that they're there just to make things easier for myself. So I'm just going to kind of draw this mass in here, just for the purposes of making my life a little bit easier. I'm going to do that and hold shift to kind of smooth that out. And shift to smooth that out. Alright, so I'm just going to keep on here. I'm going to hold shift. Looking at the legs, and they look a bit weird. I think these need to get moved a little bit. So again, I'm going to hold control here and paint on this, which doesn't seem to be. Let's go to mask mode. Doesn't seem to want to work anymore. Make sure I'm on this. Okay, there it goes. Alright, so I'm just going to hold control and make sure I got make sure the strength's all the way up here. Because I'm looking at this leg here and it looks a little perplexing to me. So I'm just going to tap control, tap, control, tap. Alright, that's the thing working. Control, tap. There it goes. And I'm going to hold shift to make sure I'm snapped. Okay. And I'm going to use rotate, make sure it's on global. And I'm going to click. And I'm just going to pull this back a little bit like that. And let's see, actually, let's pull it forward a little bit more. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold control and alt. And make my stroke a little bit smaller. Control and alt. And which is just taking off the mask from there. And I'm going to hold shift again. And we'll go here, and I'm just going to, again, rotate this, click, and just push it back a little bit. And we will also move this down and over like that. Oops. Some of the legs got a bit wonky down here. I didn't notice. I must not have done a good job of painting on them. So let's control and alt and make sure, okay, thought I had Control and Alt. Control and Alt. Okay, let's undo that. Control and Alt. And make sure that I don't have them. Control Z. Looks like I'm missing the back of this somehow. Control and Alt. Just make sure. Control Z. Control and Alt. Okay, let's see now. Alright, good. Now they're not being controlled. Alright. And I'm going to take rotate again, and I'm going to rotate this downwards a little. I'm going to go ahead and hold Control and Alt again, and I'm going to unpaint the leg here. Make sure I get all of it. And again with the rotate, I'm going to click and put this a little bit back, and then I'm going to hold Control and paint all of this except for the feet, because the feet looks a little bit like it needs to be bent the other way. So now I'm going to hold Shift and click and drag to make the feet more bent that way. Okay, now hold Control, click and drag, and that'll clear out my mask. I'm just going to hold Shift and smooth this out a little, smooth that out a little. Alright, so mostly what I'm trying to do here is just turn global back off. Is just try to get this to be as accurate as I can to what I want. So just gonna do what we can as best we can. Alright, and use a little bit of draw here. Alright. And add some draw there to give that a little more oomph. Okay. Okay, like that. And then we're just gonna add to the shape here. Okay, like that. And I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna go up here and fix the head a little. It feels like it needs a little more mass, so I'm just using my draw here with Shift to smooth in between, like so. Give it a little more zest. Okay. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller to make it more like a beak. Alright. And we'll add a little up here. Okay, hold Shift to smooth. Alright. And we'll see what that looks like. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to hold Shift. And that will actually lose a little bit of volume because of that. Oops. Alright, something like that. I'll lose a little more there. Lose a little more here as well. Okay, that looks somewhat adequate as far as like the base shape is concerned. What I'm gonna do is, well, you know, I'm gonna fix these feet a little bit more, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay. So let's go ahead and basically they need a lot of mass. So I'm just gonna take this down. Come on. Alright. And use my Shift to smooth. Generally speaking, you want to draw a stroke and then smooth it after. Okay. Trying to get these to be a little bit better. And let's just get those to have a little more mass. Okay, and we will just grab this. And we're gonna call that okay for right now. Oof, that's a little bent. Alright, good. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and call that good, and then what we're going to do on the next video is basically fix and finish this up.